Hello and welcome to Curate a Life That Is a Work of Art, a Tao-inspired guide for creative living. I am Pepper Lama and I am here to guide you on the path to curating a life that is a work of art. And thank you so much for being here. This course is a Tao-inspired guide for creative living and is based on my personal lived experience. My wish is that I can transmute my unique lived experience into helping others like yourself connect with your creativity, choose like an artist, and curate your own unique life into a work of art. As your creative guide, I bring 45 years of being human. I'm an older millennial and I was born in 81, so yes, I remember a time before the internet. I balance analog practice in this digital world. I've chosen a non-conventional path in pursuit of living creatively and authentically. I bring 25 years of working as a professional artist to all of this. I've painted 340 murals in 9 countries. My passion for surfing and connection to nature is a huge part of my philosophy. I see Taoism as both a philosophy and as a spiritual practice. And I always stay true to my 5 core values, which is something I encourage you to identify and do as well. Mine are authenticity, creativity, nature, freedom, and well-being. My intention. So I am here to guide you on your unique creative path, to see yourself as an artist, that life is art and art is life. It's not just about what you create, but it's how you live, to believe that your creativity is the truest expression of who you are. And the more you know who you truly are, the more your life and your creativity is going to flow. Curate a life that is a work of art is about alignment, your mind, your body, your soul, and your environment, so that you can create art and create a life that feels inspired, authentic, and fulfilling. Take what resonates and leave what does not. There is no right or wrong, only what feels authentic to you. And I want to stress that I am your guide here on this path. And as your guide, I'm walking alongside you and I'm going to show you what's worked for me over the course of my life as a professional artist and show you some things that you may want to take with you on your own unique journey. There may be some things that you don't want to take along as well, and that's totally fine. This is your life. This is your course. This is your creativity. So you take what resonates with you and leave the rest. So, curate a life that is a work of art is my philosophy, and it focuses on a holistic approach to creative living by aligning these 4 pillars: your mind, your body, your soul, and your environment. It's also guided by the wisdom of the Tao, and that's all about connecting to nature, embracing cycles, being in flow, seeking balance, practicing non-attachment, and being present. All of this is so important for your overall well-being, but for your creativity as well. So, this course was intentionally designed to be self-paced. There is no right or wrong way to move through it. You might choose to watch all of these modules in one go and then revisit them slowly, or you might prefer to focus on one module per month and allow the information to integrate over time. It is totally up to you. I'm here as your guide, but you are the curator of your experience. And self-study is always recommended, and I encourage you to dive deep into the information that resonates. I always encourage you to take whatever I'm showing you here. If something really resonates and you're like, wow, that sounds like something I'm very interested in, that sounds like something I'd like to do a little bit more of a deep dive in, I encourage you to go ahead and do that. As I said, I'm here to guide and show you what's worked with me for me. But if there's something that really resonates for you, I want you to take that and run with it and research it and study it and make it your own. This is your experience and you are the curator of your experience. You also have lifetime access to this course, so refer back to it as often as you need to. And nothing about this path was instant for me. As I said, this is 45 years of my lived experience and 25 of those as a working professional. So nothing was instant. It didn't happen overnight, and I guarantee that it won't be for you either. It's not a quick fix. It's not an AI generated hack. This is human to human connection, and my guidance is real. I also suggest that we really feel into the analog as we're working through this, and balancing the analog and digital is really, really important for my philosophy. And I just believe in general as humans, as things become more modern, as things become more digitized, it's so important to always, always, always balance out the analog with all the digital that is in our life. So I suggest that you have some analog tools with you while we're communicating in this digital way. So I invite you to have a few simple tools available that will support your experience. We'll use the digital world to connect like we're doing now, but I really want you to embrace analog practice wherever it is possible. It's all about balance, and that is a very Taoist concept, and that's something that we're going to come back to a lot throughout this course. So I recommend that you get a physical copy of the book 365 Tao by Deng Ming Dao. This is the foundation of my philosophy, and I will refer to it often. I also recommend that you get something to write on, and that can be your journal, that could be a visual diary, a regular notebook, just sheets of paper, whatever it is, but something analog, something tactile, something physical that you can write on, and then obviously something to write with. Whatever medium supports you in your creativity, but just make sure it's analog, make sure it's something you can hold in your hand, write down in a physical sense, and that can be pens, pencils, paints, like whatever you want to use. This is going to support your experience as we're doing this in a digital way. So let's get into it. Curate a life that is a work of art is based on a principle that we're working around the art of curation, right? When we say curate a life that is a work of art, what do we mean by curating? The word curating is usually associated with art galleries and museums. This is probably the context that you've originally heard it in. In this context, curation is a creative and intentional way of choosing. So take a moment to think about that. When you curate, you are creatively and intentionally choosing. A curator chooses, they choose what belongs, and they also choose what doesn't. Every single day, you are curating your reality. You're not a machine functioning on autopilot. You are a human being, and you create your reality through the choices that you make. Curating is choosing. So whether you realize it or not, you are the artist of your life. Your life is art, and art is life. Creativity isn't just something that you do, it's who you are and how you live. And by practicing this philosophy, you will see your life as art and art as life. And you will choose to live in a creative way. That's what this course is all about. I also am going to stress the importance of practice. And this is your invitation to commit to showing up for yourself every single day. And that's what practicing is. And I want you to remember something. This is one of my favorite pieces of information that I come back to quite often. 15 minutes is just 1% of your day. You can do the math on this. There's 24 hours in a day, 15 minutes. It's literally 1% of your day. Think about that. 15 minutes. Every little 15-minute increment of time that you spend throughout the day is just 1% of the entire day. So if you can commit to a daily investment into yourself and your creativity for that minimum amount of time, 1%, you will notice a difference. Because over time, that daily 1% compounds. It will become a consistent practice, an embodied way of being, and eventually it will just simply be who you are. But you have to start and you have to practice. And I love this. 15 minutes is just 1% of your day. If you want to write this down, stick it on a post-it so you see it, write it in your journal, but just keep reminding yourself of this fact. 1% of your day, 15 minutes. So we all have to start somewhere, right? And whenever we start a new practice, we've got to start from the bottom, right? That's where everything begins. So you start with your intention. Okay, I want to live more creatively. That's where you start. That's where the practice builds from. And then you commit to it. You do it every single day. You say, okay, 15 minutes, 1%, I can do this. You do that consistently. Every single day, you show up for yourself and you practice for at least 15 minutes for at least 1%. Over time, once you do that consistently, it's just going to become an embodied way of being. You're going to practice. It's just what you do. And then it eventually becomes who you are. But you got to commit, you got to practice. So you might be asking, okay, I really want to do this. I've got 1% of my day. I can do 15 minutes, but where and how do I start? So I invite you to begin with a morning practice to start your day creatively in an analog way. Set aside those 15 minutes or just 1% of your day to read a physical book and write in a physical journal. Start your day with analog creative intention. This simple analog practice will set a creative intention for your day and build the foundation for creative living. No scrolling, no phone, no distractions, just 15 minutes, 1%, of quiet alone time to be present and connect with your creative self. And I do this every morning through my practice of the 365 Tao Book Club. And this is based on the book that I recommended that you get a copy of earlier, which is called 365 Tao by the author Deng Dao. For over 15 years, this book has been a part of my morning routine, and it's accompanied me around the world. No matter where I am, I begin my day by reading a passage from 365 Tao, and then I journal about it. This little book and its wisdom is the foundation for my philosophy, Curate a Life that is a work of art. The Tao encourages flow, balance, and a connection to nature, and this practice is a way to explore creative expression in an analog way by reading and writing. In 2025, I created the 365 Tao Book Club community to share this intentional morning analog practice of reading and journaling. It's a simple yet powerful way to start your day with a creative intention. Whether you're new to journaling, curious about Taoist philosophy, looking to cultivate a new routine, or simply, craving a deeper connection to yourself, your creativity, and the world around you, I invite you to join, and this is where you can start. So, what is Taoism? I keep bringing this up, right? I keep talking about the Tao and 365 Tao and Taoist philosophy. What is that? If you're not familiar, here's a little introduction. Taoism is a 2,500-year-old Chinese philosophy and a spiritual tradition that emphasizes harmony with the cycles of nature, living in flow, which is a concept called Wu Wei, and balance, which is represented by the yin and yang symbol, which I'm sure you're already familiar with. Lao Tzu is the legendary author of the Tao Te Ching, and it's a foundational text of 81 verses describing the Tao, which is sometimes also called the Way, the natural, effortless flow of the universe. The Tao is sometimes referred to as the art of living. Deng Dao is a Chinese-American author, artist, and Taoist practitioner. His book, 365 Tao, offers a daily meditation practice presenting Taoist philosophy in a modern and practical format. I'm in regular communication with Deng Dao, and I really feel honored to have his blessing on this project. And if you'd like to learn a little bit more about him and Taoism in general, you can visit my YouTube channel, and I have quite a few interviews with him that I've accumulated over the years. He is a wonderful, wonderful person. I really enjoy speaking to him, and I feel so honored that I have his blessing to work with his amazing book because it's given me so much in my life, so much for my creativity, so much for my practice. And I'm so, so, so happy that I have his blessing to share this with you also. Taoism teaches us that as human beings, we are part of the natural world and our own energy follows cycles. And those cycles are similar to nature. Some days are meant for stillness, introspection, and quiet, and those are very yin qualities. And other days call for movement, creation, and expression, and those are very yang qualities. The Tao is often referred to as the way or the art of living, which are two wonderful ways that I love to refer to it. And it's all about connecting to nature, seeking balance, which is yin and yang, embracing cycles, being in flow with what is, practicing non-attachment, and being present. And if you take a moment to review those, all of those are very, very important concepts in creativity. The creative process really, really speaks to the Tao. And I think that's why it resonates with me so much and why it is the foundation of my philosophy. Another daily practice that is so important is journaling. Journaling is a creative analog practice. There's something very powerful about transferring everything that's racing through your mind onto a page. And I like doing this in an analog way. Some people, yes, you can journal in a digital format, but I really, really encourage you to get into it in the analog. Transfer everything that's going on in here through your arm, through your hand, through a pen onto a physical piece of paper. It's such a powerful practice. It's simple, but it is transformative, and it has been a guiding force in my artistic life. It provides a routine, it provides self-reflection, and it is a creative outlet. And it's something that I can do and something that you can do no matter where you are in the world. Keeping track of the cyclical nature of life can be powerful in the present moment, but it's also really interesting to refer back to over time. That's why keeping a journal is such a wonderful thing. It's a wonderful way to reflect on your growth, see where you've been, see where you're going, and just keep track of the cyclical nature of life and creativity. My journaling practice is inspired by Julia Cameron's Morning Pages philosophy. And if you're new to journaling and you're not familiar with Julia Cameron, I really highly recommend exploring her work. And the best example of this is The Artist's Way. And as I said, the Morning Pages philosophy. Julia Cameron is a gem. And if you're not familiar with her, I totally encourage you to do a little self-study on her and her philosophy. So let's think about analog practice. I've been bringing that up a lot. We live in a digital modern world, but it's so important to balance that with analog, right? In today's digital world, handwriting, writing with your hand, something analog, is an often overlooked skill, yet it holds value for cognitive function. Use your brain, your creativity, and your penmanship. Studies show that analog writing, which is physically putting a pen to paper, enhances memory retention. So it's really good for your brain. It's a cognitive skill, processing your thoughts in a way that typing cannot replicate. And that's why I stress this so much. It's one thing to type things out with your fingers on your phone or type things out onto the computer, but there is something so powerful about picking up a pen, putting it to paper, and transferring that in that analog physical way. It's so important for you. For artists, illustrators, and creative, the repetitive motion of handwriting also refines a technical skill. So yeah, it has benefits as a cognitive function, but think about it. Using a pen, writing, drawing, painting, it's that repetitive movement that is a skill that you build by what? Practice. So writing in a physical way, writing in your journal is building your skill. It's training your hand to be steady and precise, and it naturally invites you to be mindful and present, which are so important in your creativity. I've always loved to read and write, so this form of creative expression comes very naturally to me. But however, this may not be your experience. And as with learning any new skill or practice, I encourage you to be kind and patient with yourself as you explore something new. There's no right or wrong way to create, and there's definitely no right or wrong way to journal. This is your practice. So, a little bit of guidance if you're new to journaling, just don't censor or judge yourself. Let your thoughts flow freely. Don't edit or second guess yourself. Just open up that book, grab your pen, and just write. No censorship, no judgment, and let it flow. Very, very Taoist concept. Write intuitively rather than intellectually. And what does that mean? Just let it flow, let it go out. Go with your feeling rather than your intellect. Feel it rather than think it. Write what comes naturally without forcing or filtering. Release shame or fear. Express your truth. Writing is a safe space to explore and process, and that's what your journal is all about. Be authentic. Write what you truly feel and think, not what you think you should say. And remember, there is no right or wrong. Honor what feels right for you. So let's think about our creativity for a moment and why this philosophy of mine is based on these, four elements, the mind, the body, the soul, and the environment, and how are those connected? So for a moment, think about yourself as an artist. Imagine yourself as an artist. You're not only practicing your technical skills like painting or drawing, but you're also creating mental, physical, spiritual, and environmental wellness through intentional practice and creative living. Think about your mind. Curate your thoughts to move past limiting beliefs and create the life you want. Think about your body. Your body is an instrument of creation. Nourish, move, and respect its rhythms. Your soul. Connect with your deeper purpose. Your creativity is the truest expression of who you are, and your environment. Your outer world is a reflection of your inner state. So curate your environment with intention.